Have you ever watched someone slowly disappear? Not physically, they're still there. But the texts stopped coming, the check-ins stopped, the conversations that used to flow easily now feel like pulling teeth, if they happen at all. And the worst part isn't the silence itself, it's what you do with it. You replay every conversation, you wonder what you said wrong, you start questioning whether any of it was real. Here's what most people don't know. When someone goes quiet on you, it is almost never about what you think it's about. And if you react the way most people do, which we'll get to, you make everything significantly worse. This is what the silence really means. And by the way, if someone who used to reach out all the time has suddenly gone completely silent, don't ignore that. We'll get into what that really means at the end, and it's something most people wish they had understood before it was too late. Let's start with what the silence is actually telling you. 1. Silence is not indifference, it is overwhelm. Have you ever watched someone pull away and immediately assume the worst? Most people do. They assume silence equals distance. That quiet means they stop caring. The research says something different. A study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that the most common reason people go silent is not hostility. It is overwhelm. When the nervous system floods, verbal processing shuts down. They don't stop talking because they stop caring. They stop because caring too much has overloaded their system. Think about that for a second. The silence you've been reading as rejection might actually be the opposite. It might be someone who feels so much they don't know how to say any of it. So before you assume the worst, ask a different question. Not, what did I do wrong? But what are they carrying? And by the way, if someone has suddenly gone silent, don't ignore that. We'll get into what that really means at the end. Something most people wish they'd understood sooner. 2. Their attachment style is speaking louder than their words. Have you ever noticed that some people go quiet when things get emotional, while others talk more? That's not personality, that's attachment. Research suggests that roughly 25% of adults have an avoidant attachment style. People who learned early that expressing needs led to rejection. So their brain learned to protect itself through withdrawal. When something feels too real, they don't lean in, they disappear. Think about that for a second. An avoidant person can genuinely care about you and still go silent the moment things get emotionally significant. The silence isn't a verdict on your worth. It's their oldest coping mechanism activating in response to something that matters to them. So the next time someone goes quiet, ask yourself, are they pulling away or protecting something that matters too much? That might be them getting scared of how much they have to lose. And hey, if this is making you think about someone right now, hit that like button and subscribe. 3. Being ignored activates the same brain region as physical pain. Have you ever noticed that being ignored by someone you care about feels almost physical? That's not in your head, it's in your brain. A landmark study by Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA found that social rejection activates the anterior cingulate cortex, the same region that processes physical injury. Being ignored literally hurts in the same neurological way that being burned or cut hurts. This is why someone going quiet on you feels so destabilizing. Your brain is not overreacting, it is registering a genuine threat signal. Think about that for a second. The pain you feel when someone stops responding isn't weakness, it's biology. Your brain was designed to treat social disconnection as a survival threat. And here's what most people never consider. The person going quiet often has no idea how much pain they're creating. They're in their own silence for their own reasons. So the next time you feel that pain, remember, it's not you being too sensitive. It's two people living in the same silence but experiencing completely different realities. 4. There are 3 kinds of silence. Only one of them is dangerous. Have you ever noticed that some silences feel completely fine, while others feel like the ground disappearing beneath you? That's not your imagination. That's your brain reading something real. Psychologist Netta Weinstein identified 3 distinct types of silence in relationships. The first is intimate silence, the quiet between 2 people who are deeply comfortable together. No words needed, no anxiety. This silence feels safe. The second is anxious silence. Someone has something to say but fears the response. They go quiet not from indifference, but from self-protection. The third is hostile silence, deliberate withdrawal, a door being closed on purpose. Think about that for a second. 3 completely different silences, 3 completely different meanings, but from the outside, they can all look exactly the same. So the next time someone goes quiet, don't just ask why, ask which silence this is, because the answer changes everything about how you should respond. 5. What you do in the silence shapes everything that comes after. Have you ever felt someone pulling away and immediately texted more, pushed harder, asked more questions? Most people do. It feels like the right thing. It isn't. Research on what psychologists call the demand-withdraw cycle shows that when one person pursues and another withdraws, the pursuer escalates and the withdrawal deepens. A cycle begins that becomes very difficult to break. The most effective response is neither pursuit nor counter-withdrawal. It is calm acknowledgement. Something like, "I've noticed you've been quiet. I'm not going anywhere. When you're ready, I'm here." Think about that for a second. Those 2 sentences do something specific. They remove the threat that the withdrawal was designed to protect against. They say, "Your silence will not cost you my presence." So the next time someone goes quiet, resist the urge to chase. Say less. Stay steady. Because calm is the one thing that actually has a chance of bringing them back. 6. Some silence is a form of communication. Have you ever had a conversation get suddenly quiet? Not because something went wrong, but because something went very right? Most people panic in that pause. They shouldn't. Research has found that people often need time to process emotions internally before they can verbalize them. What looks like shutdown is often the precursor to the most honest thing they'll ever say. They just need time to find the words. This is why reacting to silence with urgency often backfires. The silence was a door beginning to open. The pressure closes it. Think about that for a second. The moment you push hardest for an answer is often the moment the answer moves furthest away. So the next time a conversation goes quiet, don't fill it, sit in it. Let the silence do its work. Not every quiet person is shutting you out. Some of them are working up to letting you in. 7. The silence that comes right before someone opens up. This is the one I mentioned at the beginning, and it's the silence that matters most. There is a specific kind of quiet that falls right before someone says something true, a pause that stretches a beat longer than expected, a moment where you can feel them deciding. Research on emotional disclosure shows that genuine vulnerability is almost always preceded by hesitation. The person is not withholding, they are summoning, they are deciding, in that quiet moment, whether you are safe enough to receive what they're about to say. Think about that for a second. If you fill that silence, if you rush in or make a joke to ease the tension, you interrupt the thing that was coming. So learn to sit in the pause. The most important things people have ever said to each other were almost never said immediately. They lived in silence first. And sometimes, if you stay still long enough, the silence breaks open. And what's on the other side is the most honest thing you will ever hear from that person. That's worth waiting for. The silence was never empty. It was always full of something they didn't yet know how to say. If this video made you see someone's silence differently, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.